to Issues in Dating and Marriage Relationships by Dan Schmidt for Cornerstone University. The biggest issues that couples say that they face, according to research, is finances, criticism, chores, children, work, time management, stress, and sex. But what do all of these issues have in common? Communication. It seems that communication, or a lack thereof, is a significant issue in most marriages. So there's 4 tips to better communication. We need to learn to listen. We need to schedule time to talk. We need to learn better nonverbal communication skills. And we also need to learn about love languages. So first, learn to listen. James 1:19 says, "My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry." God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. We should listen twice as much as we talk. So the first point, just listen. Men, we tend to start listening and then switch to analyzing the situation to get an answer or to fix the problem. It's just who we are. It's how we're built. So one key piece of advice would be to ask if she wants your advice. Because in reality, in most cases anyway, women usually just want their significant other to show that they care by listening to what they have to say. Reflective listening is a good way to kind of keep your mind off of trying to solve the problem. Reflective listening is simply this. It's repeating back in your own words what you heard your partner say to you. Using this tool lets her know that you are listening, and it helps you to make sure that you understand what she's saying. Second point, schedule time to talk. Make time to invest in her. In today's busy world, it's become more difficult to find time to invest in each other. Regardless of whether it's a long-term dating relationship or marriage, it is important to make time for each other. Taking time to go out on a date or go for a walk, just sit down and talk, all of these things will show your significant other that she really matters to you. So it says to schedule at least 15 minutes for just the 2 of you to share and connect with each other. Research has shown that this is important for people to be able to connect on this way, especially for the woman to be able to know that her significant other is truly invested in her. Your significant other needs that time to connect and share her feelings. It helps her to process and realize exactly how she feels. Then, of course, there's nonverbal communication. There's 2 pieces of that. Tone of voice and posture and action are 2 big pieces of that nonverbal communication. Proverbs 17:27 and 28 says, "The one who has knowledge uses words with restraint, and whoever has understanding is even-tempered. Even fools are thought wise if they keep silent, and discerning if they hold their tongues." It's talking about a person with understanding having an even temper, because even a fool can seem wise if they stay quiet. So when speaking to your spouse or significant other, especially about a difference of opinion, poor nonverbal skills can lead to a power struggle or a want to reciprocate the negative behavior and the negative feeling that it fosters. So I wanted to show you quick how people really communicate. If you look at this pie chart, that little green piece of pie is the verbal part. That's the words that we say. That gigantic blue part is our posture and action. And then the yellow part there is our tone of voice. According to Gary Chapman, the author of the 5 Love Languages, well, the words that we say have value, only about 7%, that's that green part, 7% of the communication is through our words. In contrast, 55% of communication is posture and action, that's the blue part, 55%, while the other 38% is our tone of voice. So that yellow part, that's 38%. And that makes up a good portion of how people understand us when we're speaking to them. And of course, finally, the 5 love languages. Words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch are the 5 love languages. While affirming words and quality time are obvious ways to verbally speak love to your significant other, there may be more meaningful ways of communicating love to her, like giving gifts or acts of service or physical touch. How do you find out which of the love languages are hers? Well, you can buy the book, or you can look it up online. It's a really great book, The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. Or, you could have a conversation, talk to her, observe her, see what she's asking for, listen, and talk to her some more. 1 John 3:18 says, "Dear children, let us not love with words or speech only, but with actions and in truth." So a biblical example of an unhealthy relationship, I was thinking about one in Abigail and Nabal came to mind. They're not a very well-known example of anything in the Bible unless you've read through a lot of the book. In 1 Samuel 25, Abigail and Nabal can be found in there. And they have issues. Nabal is a self-centered, crude drunk who makes some really bad mistakes in his dealings with David. And then Abigail, instead of talking to him about his mistakes, goes behind his back to David and brings him the provisions that he had asked for and been denied by Nabal. Although the story is told in a way that makes her out to be the good person, which overall, I guess she did the right thing, but she went about it in a poor way. In a healthy relationship, there would have been communication and consensus on the matter instead of deceit. In a healthy relationship example in the Bible, I used Joseph and Mary. Joseph, although he found out that his wife to be, that they were engaged, and he found out that his wife to be was pregnant, and not by him, because an angel came to visit him and shared with him that the angel, or that this baby was God's son, that he believed in that and he trusted that, and so he was obedient. And Mary as well, when the angel visited her, was obedient in carrying this child and caring for this child. And I would imagine, although it doesn't come right out and say it in the Bible, but I would imagine that there was quite a conversation that took place between the two of them after they had those visits from the angels, letting them know that I would bet that they got together and had a pretty good talk about that, and continued to talk after Jesus was born and cared for him well, and prepared him for his ministry when he became an adult. So points that I've applied to my marriage. Number 1, I've learned to listen and ask her if she wants feedback. And I definitely use the reflective listening. When I hear her say something, I repeat it back so that I know that I heard it right and she knows that I heard it right. And also nonverbal communication. Was a really difficult one for me. I have been known to come across as being grumpy quite a bit. And so I have to be very aware of my posture and my tone of voice when I'm speaking to her and the kids, and really to anybody. I should be more aware of that. So that's something that I've worked on over the years. 2 things that I tell every couple. Number 1, learn to listen to your spouse. Listen for cues to help you love her well, as I guarantee she is telling you something if you listen. And number 2 is learn the 5 love languages. Learn all of them, because love languages change over time. If a need is not being met, I guarantee you that she's craving that love language. If you start meeting that love language well, but not meeting another one, that might end up being the love language that she needs the most from you. So learn them all and learn to use them all well. So communication is the difference between success and failure in a relationship. Ephesians 5:25 says, "Husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her." Guys, we're called to love our wives in a sacrificial way, and this means that we need to be willing to make sacrifices and take time and make an effort to show our wives that we love them. So a couple of questions for you guys. What is one takeaway that you could apply in a current or future dating or marriage relationship today? And then when you listen, do you find yourself thinking about your response before the other person is done talking, or do you actually take time to listen? Thanks for the presentation.